everybody. I'm going to do the video on solar that I promised for so long. And you might be wondering, well, if you're going to do a video on solar, how come you have a bicycle in the video? Well, the reason why is what I'm showing you is an emergency type of solar system, not something that you would power an entire house with. Now, that being said, we have electric bikes. That's how we get around. Okay, so we have to obviously charge the battery packs. Now, that's a 48 volt battery pack, and you need a 48 volt charger to charge that. That's what this is here on top. Now, that charger, believe it or not, takes quite a bit of juice to run. So as long as we have AC current, household AC current, we can charge our bikes. So we have to go through a process of collecting the power from the sun. Then we have to store the power from the sun into a battery, and then we can use an inverter to create 120 volts AC out of 12 volts DC. And I'm going to take you through that process. I'm going to show you the components we have, and I'm even going to create a PDF file in which you have hyperlinks to where you can click on the actual products that we have purchased, or you can find products of the same genre to be able to get for yourself. So I wanted to show you one of the practical purposes that we have for using solar as an emergency power solution. Now, the other common things that you want to be able to power are things, kind of like, cell phone chargers or any type of mobile devices or anything like that. You might have hospital medical equipment like an oxygen machine. Although you would need a larger system than what I'm going to be showing you, you could still achieve that same goal. So I wanted to show you the bike because that's one of the top priorities we have when it comes to power in an SHTF or any type of emergency grid down situation. The bicycles for transportation is really important, and so is charging mobile devices and whatnot. So this is to give you an idea of that. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the components. Alrighty, the first part of any solar system is a solar panel and a dog. You cannot have a solar system without a dog. It won't work correctly. Anyway, so we have two panels here. We have a little portable one there, and this one you could consider semi-portable. But we do have a portable panel there, and we have this panel here, which we're going to be looking at today. However, I am going to be connecting that panel in with this panel eventually. So what do we have here? Well, we essentially have what they will call a 12 volt solar panel. Now, it's rated on the back as 60 watts. All the other units that I've seen like this have been sold as 50 watts. Up there, that all powers unit, that is rated at 28 watts. So I'm going to flip this panel over here. We're going to look at the ratings on the back. So that is the ratings on this particular panel. As you can tell, it's an Elfland panel, and it says 60 watts at 12 volts. But what I want to show you, because you cannot charge a 12 volt battery at 12 volts. You have to have a higher voltage in order to charge a 12 volt battery. So that's what you see here, the VP max, okay? 18 volts. So this panel actually puts out 18 volts at a maximum. So that allows you to be able to charge the battery. So here's the thing. This panel will be able to charge your batteries, I would say in a day's time is what I'm guessing. If not, both those panels combined will. Okay, so let me show you this other panel here. Let me scoot this one out of the way. Let me show you this other panel, and I'll show you how I can connect the two. So this just unfolds, and like I said, this is 28 watts. We've had this one for a little while, and it works okay. It does okay for what it is. Let me flip it around here and let you see the connections here. As you can see, although it's blinking, it is getting power just here on the inside of the house. It's getting enough power at least to bring that LED up. So what we have here is a connector block. That connector block has one USB out, which is 5 volts, and it has a 18 volt out right there. So I have to make up a special adapter, which I plan on doing. But inside here you have a small short cord to charge a mobile device with, or anything else USB. And then you have various connectors. Here's another connector, and what this does is you can use any one of these connected to this, and this of course connects right into here. So what I'm going to be doing is making a connector that will connect from here into a solar charge controller. Okay, pretty simple process. I don't want to use any of the stuff that came with it though. I want to keep that the way that it was made. So I will be doing that, and we will be adding this system into this panel into this panel eventually. So that'll probably happen relatively soon, but I'm not going to be doing that today. So anyway, let me close this panel up here. These are nice to put in a bug out bag, although they're a little weighty. 28 watts, I wouldn't recommend it. They make bigger ones now, 50, 60 watts for the foldable units like this. That's what I would recommend over this. But push comes to shove, that 28 watts can really save you. So, back to the components. Now, I know I'm going to catch a lot of grief over my connectors, because as you can tell, they're real high quality, heavy duty connectors there. No, I literally, I didn't have the proper connectors. So what I did is I took extension cord wire and I actually wired it into the connectors. So not to destroy the connectors or anything like that. When I do get the proper connectors, then I'll be able to do it properly. So this here runs into a solar charge controller, and we're going to be taking this all outside and hooking it up, and I'm going to show it to you. Now again, we're using extension cord wire here. What I have is this solar panel is coming into these terminals right here, and I already have it all checked. It's all hooked up. The black electrical tape around the one wire there, that's the positive. I did that to mark that so I would know what was what and I wouldn't have any accidents, okay? So this here goes out to the battery, okay? And again, I've got electrical tape marking the positive. Although I wished it was red tape, I had black tape. Whatever works, as long as you know what that means. So that's essentially all that matters, that you mark it in a manner in which you know what it means. Now, here is the other ends of that. And of course, once again, the black electrical tape signifies to me that that is the positive. So that is going to get connected to the battery. And that I'm going to try to bring over here without smashing myself or anything else. I'll see if I can slide it a little bit. So here's the batteries, dust and all. Those are two 20 amp hour 12 volt batteries, okay? And so we are going to be using today this solar charge controller to charge this battery. Now I just ran these batteries down. I used it on the power inverter we have, and I actually ran Jen's desktop computer on it in order to drain the batteries down. So I did get the low voltage warning. The batteries are properly drained down. And as far as the inverter, now that is right here. Okay, so let me run down cost on you for this. Okay, this panel here was it was like $84 when we bought it. Last I looked, they marked it down to $79 for that panel. These batteries, you can get them for $70 even shipped, or for two of them, or you can buy them for $35.50 a piece, and that's shipping included. I don't know if the price has changed on these or not. I am going to go through our eBay purchase history, and like I said, I will make a PDF for you, so you can just click on the hyperlinks in the PDF, and it will take you to the actual places where we got these products at. So that way, you know, if you're going to order what we ordered, you know you're getting the same thing we ordered. This here, I believe this was $43 or $44. I would have to look again. This is the solar charge controller. This is 30 amp. It does have a single USB port on the top of it. Temperature sensor, if you're wondering what that is there. And that you have to have installed when you use this. And this is the power inverter. It's a 2000 watt peak, 900 watt continuous. Now, even though it's 900 watt continuous. You don't want to be pushing that. You don't want to try to run a regular size refrigerator or anything like that off of this. It would not be a good idea. So, but this does fine for what we need it for. Like I told you, we were powering Jen's desktop computer with it. So, and it seems to power that just fine. No, it is not a pure sine wave. It is a modified sine wave. Now, I believe this was $44 as well. It will be hyperlinked as well into that. It's got a nice little display. I can actually show you that. This also has a USB port, and it's got two household 120 volt AC outlets on it. So let me show you this display real quick before we get set up to head outside. Let me plug this in here and turn the unit on here. So it does have a nice little display. It tells you your voltage here, and it tells you let's see, this is your voltage output. So this would be your AC output. This is your voltage input. This is a battery level indicator. As you can tell, it's not, you know, it all depends on the load. If you've got a lot of load on it, it's going to drop down this voltage drastically, and you'll see that little meter go down there. You've also got a load meter here, and of course there's nothing hooked up to it, so there's no load. So, but it will give you a rough idea of the load that you're pulling. Is it you know, super scientific? No, it's not. It's a cheap power inverter, okay? So none of this is expensive stuff. All of this stuff is cheaper stuff. You can't do solar for free, but you can do it inexpensive. And if you just need something for emergency purposes, then that's just fine. So, okay, those are the components. And again, I'll run back over it with you. The 50 or 60, whichever it truly is, watt panel right here. That you can get now for 80 bucks if the price is still the same. For 2 batteries, you can get for 70 shipped to your door. Each battery would be $35.50 shipped to your door, and that's if the prices hasn't changed. The power inverter here, the solar charge controller. My mistake. I'm sorry. The solar charge controller is that was, I believe, 43 or 44. Okay, and then this was like 44. So you're talking. Let's just make this real simple, okay? So 44 and 44. Let's just say 100 for that, okay? Let's just say, let's just go ahead and say the 70 for 2 batteries. So you're looking at, well, we'll say 160 because of the 44. So 160, and then you've got the panel here, which now you can get for 80, which would put you at 240 bucks. So roughly 250 bucks. Would go just a little bit over. You'd be able to buy the right connectors, for instance. If you spent 250 bucks, you're looking at being able to get this stuff right here. So again, I will be making up a PDF that I will link in the description of this video that you can download, and it will have the hyperlinks to the actual products from the actual sellers that I bought from. But please look around, see if you can find better deals. Be very careful about really cheap products though. And okay, well, I guess we shall see you outside, maybe even with the doggo, and we'll get these batteries charging. Alrighty, so we're outside and we're hooked up. We've got the battery bank over there hooked up to the solar panel, hooked up to the solar charge, or through the solar charge controller, I should say. And I'm looking at the voltage here at 12.2. Now, it should shut down at 13.8 as it shows there. So it shows that we're getting power in. I'm going to try to move these wires off a little bit. They're on the panel. I'm going to try to clear them from the panel here. Because believe it or not, just little things like that will make a huge difference. And what we're going to do is we're just going to let it set out here and charge. So right now, again, we're at 22 volts. I know I could see it better in the light. There we go. Right now, or 12.2, I'm sorry. And it's going up and down a little bit. Now, once it reaches 13.8, it will shut down. So the only reason why we're showing the 12 is because there is absolutely no draw, no current on the battery. So that's why we were showing 12 volts from the get-go. Although if I put the inverter on it and added a load to it, it would drop down automatically, and that would be why. because that's just the way current works in a battery. If there's no draw, it will typically go up to the battery voltage. So even though a 12-volt battery, when you charge it and it's fully charged, a lead acid battery will be more than 12 volts. So just so you know that. So anyway, that's what we got going on. As we can see by the indicator here, the solar panel is putting power into the battery, and we're just going to let it run out here for a little while, and we will check on it in a bit. I'll see you then. Okay, it's probably just a little shy of an hour later, and we're just going to check in on it. And I'm going to show you something that I forgot to mention in the earlier one when we first hooked it up. But there is an indicator here for how many amps are coming in. Now that will go back in between temperature and Celsius. It doesn't have a Fahrenheit option, and the amps. So we are pulling in 2 amps, probably a little more than that. That panel's rated to bring in, on average, between 2 and 2.5 amps. So as far as the voltage, if you look at that, we're oscillating between 12.4 and 12.6 volts. So we are charging. Everything looks like it's doing very well, and we're just going to keep an eye on it. I'm going to just let it run, and I'm going to let it float the batteries if we can reach that today. So as far as I know, it's supposed to be a beautiful day here. Going to have sun all day. So I'm just going to let it sit out here. I'll come out here from time to time, and I'll move the panel to track with the sun, and we'll just see if we can get the battery built up and floating, and we'll go from there. So I have a feeling that we're going to be able to do that. There is a percentage on here that tells you how full the battery is. It'll go back to it in just a moment here. Of course, when I'm trying to show you, it takes longer, right? But that will go back, and it will show you where the battery is setting at as far as charge. So there we go. So it's oscillating between 57 and 58% battery capacity, and we will keep an eye on that. So there you go. We'll check back in a little while. Alright, gonna do another update. It's probably been about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours since the last time. I'm just kind of guessing there. I didn't pay attention to the time. There are clouds starting to move in a little bit, so the sun is getting covered a little bit here and there. So let's take a look at what we got, though. I see it oscillating between 12.7 and 12.8. It's on 12.8 pretty steady. Pulling in 2 amps still, it says. And it's looking pretty good, actually. So I don't know if we'll be able to achieve a full charge today or not. We'll have to see. It's not that late in the day. It's probably, I think it's close to 2 o'clock in the afternoon here. So there's still plenty of sun left. I don't know that we'll get it to float, but I'm hoping maybe we can at least get up to 13.4 volts or so. That's my hopes. So 68% is what the battery is showing capacity. So not doing too bad. Not doing too bad. For a cheap little setup, you know, these if you've got the proper stuff like real low wattage USB lighting and stuff like that, LEDs, you can you know, with 40 amp hours of battery, you can essentially power those lights for quite a while. Plus phone chargers and stuff like that typically don't take too awful much. Now the charger that I showed earlier for my bike, it actually does. That charger alone, when it's charging, is enough to actually read on the load meter on the power inverter. So it does draw a fair amount of current. So anyway, just giving you an update. Again, we will check back on it later. Alright, we're kind of clouding up for the day, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this down. So if I would have had the whole day, it would have done a lot better, but it kind of started clouding up on me. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull it down. I'm going to flip this panel over so it's not getting anything from the sun. So it was oscillating between 12.7 and 12.8. So it's brought it up just under a volt in that amount of time. And there's still several hours of sun left. Again, the clouds are starting to come in, and my position with buildings and stuff like that and trees, I wouldn't be able to get sun for a lot longer, you know, much longer. So anyway, I wanted to show you this. Hopefully you learned from it. Again, I'll put a PDF, link to one down in the description where you can get these actual components, and I'll put the titles of the components too, so that way you can search, just in case the ones I bought them from are either out of stock or for whatever reason you can't find them. So this is going to conclude the video. Feel free to send me a message at the website, thewatchmannews.com. Actually, it'd be best if you just contacted me directly at mcallahan@thewatchmannews.com, and I'll be happy to help you with anything I can. And with that, got any more to add, Blue? Anything else to add? No. Head of security says there's nothing more to add. So she's been guarding the setup back here. I hope you have a good day. I hope you could learn something.